my name's Sophie Stretch. I'm one of the fourth year intercalating medics at the University of Bristol. I'm also co-president of the Bristol University Gastroenterology and General Surgery Society.
Hi, my name is Stefania Silvestre. I'm a fifth year medical student at the University of Edinburgh and I am the Society's liaison for Suture UK.
Hi, my name's Ellie Priestman. I'm a fourth year medical student at Bristol University. I'm also the ASiT Equality and Diversity Ambassadors co-chair, as well as being the vice president at the Bristol Women in Surgery Society.
Hi, I'm Michael Okocha. I'm a general surgery registrar in the Southwest, and I'm the Association of Surgeons in Training Equality and Diversity Officer. I really hope you enjoy this episode of 50 Faces of Surgery. I hope that it leaves you feeling valued, inspired, and most importantly, welcome. Here I am.
Miss Victoria Pegna is an ST7 Lower GI Surgeon based in the South Coast. Completing her degree in medicine in 2009, already having both a Bachelor of Science in Biology and a Master's in Neuroscience, her training has taken her all across the south of England, as well as Sydney, Australia. Beyond the award-winning audits, presentations and publications, Miss Pegna has also co-authored the book Get Ahead of Surgery, an invaluable revision tool for medical students studying for their finals. In 2009, the same year she was invited onto our very own ASiT Council, Miss Pegna was the first ever trainee elected onto the Council of Royal College of Surgeons of England. Since then, with a keen interest in climate change, she co-founded the Royal College of Surgeons Sustainability Committee and has also been on the steering group committee Greener Surgery Challenge for the National Institute of Health Research, as well as the NHS Net Zero Committee. We'd like to thank you for coming here today, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yet, here you are.
So, Miss Pegna, could you tell us a bit about what you get up to in the morning? What's your sort of morning routine day to day?
Okay, so I'm going to be truthful here and not pretend that I am calm and in control, but because I've got 3 children under the age of 4, and my morning routine is normally whatever time, whatever baby starts screaming, around 6 in the morning, and then my husband and I are in a mad dash, panic, rush thing to spend the next hour getting them all dressed, fed, and out of the house in time for us to get to work, which isn't a very pretty sight, I must say, but we have got better at it over the last 4 years. But basically, yeah, it's dressing children, shoving some food in their mouths. We never managed to get to eat. And I just have to basically check myself to check I've got no baby sick on me or my husband before we leave the house. Sorry, not glamorous at all.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up in southwest London. Yeah, I'm happy to tell you a bit more about that. But yeah, it was just normal southwest London in quite a leafy area, the bit that we were in. But it was a mixture of an area.
So could I ask, what was life like growing up for you?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I am the eldest of 4 girls. My mum was a single parent. We had literally no money. We lived in a super tiny house. Everyone shared bedrooms. And the reason mum did that in the area that we were in is because she wanted us to get into a good state school. So she decided to live in like the smallest house in the nicest area. That meant we all just basically shared a bedroom, and we did get into the good state school. And even though we had absolutely no money, and I worked from the age of 11, because we were at this fairly good state school. And when I say good state school, I mean as in it didn't have metal detectors outside its gates like my college did. It was so the area we were in was nice, and the school we went to was okay. But life was pretty tough growing up. Yeah, it was very tough actually. We just had no money and everyone else did. So we were always the family that had no money and couldn't go on the school trip. So it was a bit tricky, but I remember it as being pretty happy because I had my 3 younger sisters to play with, and we were a very close-knit family of 5 females, I guess. So it's not bad. It was a good life.
And so what made you apply for medicine?
Lots of different reasons. Like the whole reason I wanted to go to university and get a good job, let's say, was because I didn't want to end up with no money, kind of like we had growing up. Mum, although our background wasn't like having been to university or any doctors in the family, my mum was, from the age we were born, used to just say, you have to go, what are you doing for your A levels, what are you doing for university? And so it was a given. It wasn't even like it wasn't up for discussion. We were all just going to go to university. So it was a case of choosing the subject that we liked. I actually did a biology degree first, and my favourite part of the biology degree was all the human anatomy and the drugs and the stuff behind the neuroscience and stuff. So that's what ended up making me go into medicine as a second degree after a master's. And I chose medicine because I really liked the science and the anatomy, but I also wanted to do something vocational, where one day when I die, I feel like I've given something back to the world. Genuinely, that was actually what I wanted to do it for, rather than maybe going to a job that I didn't feel did that, rather than name the jobs. And yeah, medicine was definitely the most perfect choice for me at that time.
And I believe you went to Imperial for your medical degree.
Yeah.
What was it like there?
So I had a really great 6 years. I have to say I was probably one of the only people, or one of the few people from my type of background. I definitely I don't really remember anyone else that was really from the state school there. I'm sure there were a few. There were quite a few people in our year. It's quite big, and I don't remember it being heavily state school populated. In fact, I know it's not. So, also I was one of the few people that had a job. I worked every evening and I worked every weekend. And Imperial used to encourage you not to have a job. And obviously I couldn't complete medical school without having a job to pay for myself through medical school. So I was in a constant battle with them saying, oh, you shouldn't have a job at medical school. And I was like, well, are you going to pay for me to go to medical school? No, you're not. So therefore I need to work. So it was quite tricky. I had a phenomenal time. I made some amazing friends that I'm still friends with now, and I'll be friends with forever. And I can't knock the medical school, but I was definitely not in the majority with my background. And so in hindsight, I wonder if I wonder if things could change so that actually the playing field is leveled out, and maybe that won't be the case for people applying in the future. I don't know, but that's what I'd like to change, to make it more of a mixed bunch of people at medical school, rather than state school people or people from working class families or people from a poor background being in the minority.
And once you graduated from medical school, where did you travel for your training?
Oh, so I did my F1 at St Mary's in vascular surgery, day 1, 6 months at Mary's, and it was a baptism of fire. It's kind of a make or break job, and it was really, really tough. But I did my whole F1 at St Mary's Hospital. Then I went to Sydney. I convinced Imperial, or Northwest Thames, to let me go to Sydney to do my F2, which apparently you're not really meant to do, and it was much harder to do, but there was no reason you can't do it, so I did it. And then I stayed there for an extra year, and then I came back and I did another trauma surgery job at St Mary's when I got back from that. Then I applied for my core training down in Bristol and had the best 2 years ever in Bristol. It was absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I can't big up Bristol enough. It's fantastic. And had a really, really good time there in core training. It was a really excellent set of hospitals and teachers and trainers. And I was really torn about whether to stay there, but my family are from the southeast of England, from London and sort of Surrey, Sussex. And so I applied for my number in KSS, Kent, Surrey, Sussex, and got my training number in back in the world where I am now.
You're now an ST7. What was your first week like as a registrar, and maybe what was your first on call like?
I was at a really lovely hospital, but there's nothing that takes away how, I would swear now, but I probably can't, scared you are of your first day as a registrar. and you probably needn't be actually, but we'll come to the advice bit later. But you are really scared because at some point during your shift, the buck does sort of stop with you, because you might be the most senior surgeon in the hospital. And I was absolutely terrified, but I had a really fantastic set of consultants and a really lovely, friendly hospital. And I also just needed to keep reminding myself that actually, although I'm really scared, and although you feel like you don't know what you're doing, you've earned your place there. And if you ask for help, you will get it. I think gone are the days where people are like, oh, we'll just leave you to it, goodbye, and off they go home. And I think if you ask for help, even with tricky people, your senior, they will help you. So I was terrified, but I probably needn't have been as scared as I was, and it went absolutely fine. Not to say that the learning curve in your first week or month or year of your regging life is not the steepest learning curve ever, but that's a really good thing, because you know what, when you get to ST4, suddenly you feel like you know what you're doing. So it was a wonderful, amazing, challenging year. I'm glad it's over now though. I'm glad I'm going up to the other end.
What challenges have you faced along your journey?
Okay, I've had to think long and hard about this question, because I feel in two minds about how I would want to answer this. So I've had a really fantastic medical school life, training pathway, and actually I can't really knock it or say anything bad about it, because I've had really supportive people nearly the whole way. And I think I've been maybe oblivious to challenges, because I, for some reason, have just seemed to have ignored them and just got on with things. And I'm not saying that's the right way to be, but there have been challenges along the way. And I think it's only now that I'm at the ST7 end, and I graduated 12 years ago, that I think I'm aware of the challenges that I faced and still face probably. I think some of the things that are tricky are, you've got obviously the medical school side of things, where I think I constantly felt like I was, I don't know, an imposter and shouldn't be there and hadn't earned my place at medical school. I think then you get into Mary's in London, and you're around a similar group of people, and you might feel like you don't know what you're doing. You're an F1 in vascular surgery at St Mary's Hospital, where people are flying in from all over the world to watch these operations, and you're the F1 on the ward looking after these really sick patients. And I think that I constantly felt like maybe I wasn't good enough to be there. And then the other challenge you face as well is that you're the one that has to carry babies if you want babies and you're a female. And so no matter what happens, even if you've got a really supportive partner, you're the one that has to be pregnant and take the time off. You're the girl in surgery. You are the minority. And I think that without realizing it, those were constant challenges along the way. However, it didn't seem to set me back. I don't know if that's because I tried to work doubly hard or do more things than other people. I'm not sure, so that I didn't let it set me back. I can't really comment, but definitely looking back now, I think it has been quite a challenge the last 12 years, but the most amazing challenge. And I'm so glad that I've pursued this career and I am where I am.
And we're glad you've done everything that you've been doing. It's amazing. And so you spoke about how you've overcome this by just trying to work twice as hard. Is there anything else that you've done to try and overcome these challenges?
Yeah, I think it's I guess working twice as hard, but also just making sure that there's nothing you. So apparently you don't progress as much if you are a female, or if you're from a BAME background, or from a different, with English you're not your first language, and the statistics speak that loud and clear, sadly. And I think what I've done then is just made sure that every possible part that you can fall out, I've tried to make myself not. So for example, I'm really annoyed about the lack of diversity in surgery. So I complained to the Royal College, and then they have set up an independent diversity panel, and now they're looking into diversity and how they can change that. I'm not saying it's solved, but I think what I've done to overcome these things is to challenge them. And rather than just moan, I've tried to like be a part of the change. I'm not saying the change is going to happen or that I fixed it, but I definitely want to try and do things to fix it, rather than just moan that it's not working for me or for other people. So I think that's probably what I've done to overcome these things. The other thing I'd say is I've had to get much better with my time management. Literally, I say yes to everything. I do far too much, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. And so you have to do a lot of time management and juggle a lot of things. So I think they're the things I've done to overcome.
We will talk about time management afterwards. I am struggling.
Fucking advice.
Has there been a moment in your career where, you know, maybe you're in theatre or something happened that challenged you, and you're like, I'm going to overcome this, and this is what I want to do, and this is who I'm going to be?
Yeah, I think there's been lots of like little things like that, but I think one of the biggest things that has been a career defining moment for me is being this first registrar that's been voted onto the Royal College Council. And the reason I think that's a career defining moment, not because I think, oh, it's really great. I think it's been unbelievably challenging, and it's opened my eyes to stuff that I had no idea how it worked, what was going on, the problems. Like sitting on this independent review panel, it's been unbelievable. I think that I've had fairly nice career and a nice run through with my training, and that is just not the case for other people. And there's a bigger world out there, and there's a bigger picture. So for me, I think the career defining moment was definitely being on the Royal College and actually being a part of the decision making, and listening to things that are going on that are far bigger than me worrying about whether I've passed or failed my MRCS, or have I managed to get a place on my ATLS, or, you know, all these things that are really important and have stressed me out massively over the years. I've realized they are stressful, and I do need to sort them out. But actually, you know, there are a lot of problems and things that can be done better. And it has been a really huge change for me the last 2 years on the council, and lots to be done. And I'm going to try and get better at my time management to keep taking on all these diversity issues, all the issues with the environment, and our lack of protocols when it comes to anything to do with sustainability, and women in surgery, and everything that I just could talk about forever, but I won't right now.
Yet, here you are.
If you could go back in time, what would you say to yourself to inspire or motivate you?
I would say, and I would say, can say it to all of you, like, don't be hard on yourself. Like, I had massive imposter syndrome. I constantly felt like I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't ever going to get there, or what if I didn't pass my finals, or what if I have a bad day, or that exam was terrible, or someone doesn't like me, or I've had a bad rotation. And that goes on all through your career. And that don't worry, you will get there. You have earned your place there. Don't have imposter syndrome. You're good enough to be there as anyone else. And if you don't have imposter syndrome, but you're worried you're going to fail, or you're stressing over the small details, it's natural. It's okay to feel like that, but be really kind to yourself, and just think about how amazing it is that you've even got into medical school. You've even passed every year, and that you're probably going to have doctor in front of your name one day, and then you've got carte blanche to do something to change the world and make it a better place. So be kind to yourself. It's an amazing career, and don't feel like you don't belong there if you ever do feel like that.
That's great. I guess it ties in with the previous questions, but if you have any advice for medical students and aspiring surgeons moving forward?
Well, I could think doing what everyone on this call is doing already on this interview. So okay, well, you probably shouldn't say yes to everything, but I said yes to everything. and I still do say yes to everything. And although it annoys me and probably my poor husband, it does mean that there's so many doors that are opened, and you get to meet so many amazing people. And I really like surgery. I know it's meant to be anonymous application forms now, and it's meant to be this level playing field, but there is an element that still isn't. And so it's amazing how, you know, you might go into a job and actually you did a rotation there, or you did a rotation with someone that knows someone there, or they're like, aren't you that girl that was on Suture or on this, you know, Wins in Bristol, or whatever it is. And they already know you, or they know that you've been interested. And I can tell you, when you're in theatre and you're operating, and you're with a consultant or a reg or someone, and you're either a medical student or a junior doctor, and they can see that you can hand tie, or that you can do something, or you can even just hold your scalpel in the correct way, people will give you so much more time. They'll want to train you more. They'll want to take you under their wing. And I think there's a lot of complaints now about the firm structure's gone, and all the generation senior to me go on about this all the time. And I appreciate there was good parts about it, but you can make yourself your own firm structure. You can keep attending lists. You can keep like trying to do audits or research with people that are in your medical school, or when you become a junior doctor in the hospital that you're in, and they'll remember you. And then when you go to conferences and you bump into them and they go, oh my God, Vic, weren't you that like annoying third year medic that used to like come into my list all the time and stay in the, you know, or do whatever? And then they will, and then you find that they're like, oh, did you know that I've just opened up a place for a PhD, and actually you'd be great. And it's unbelievable. Surgery is actually a really small world. And if you just keep trying and doing as much stuff as you can, everybody tends to know each other by the end of it. And so like now, 12 years of being a doctor, 6 years of at medical school. So that's a long time for me being in and around the same community. And so you guys must just keep doing what you're doing, and it will pay off in the end. You feel like it won't, but it will. I promise.
Thank you so much for the advice.
Thank you. That's amazing.
And it's the best career in the world. That's what I want you to say. That's my parting thing. It's the best, and I'm not saying this for this interview, it's the best career in the world ever. If I could go back and have like completely change my life, or have the ability to do it in a way that I wanted to do, I would still do it this way. It is hard work, but it's absolutely amazing. And I can't believe someone pays me to go to work to operate.